Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we are going to have lecture number 15 of web fundamental of web development course, and we are on the topic of cascading style sheets. So these are the outlines which we intend to cover today. We will see a few more CSS effects. Then we will see functionality which is known as media queries. Then we'll see just take the idea of media queries. Then I'll give you a brief idea about CSS Flexbox functionality, and then I'll give a brief idea about CSS Grid. In fact, it's first of all. Okay, so actually there is a long list of properties. There is a long list of properties which can be used for styling the HTML pages. So obviously each and every property cannot be covered in this syllabus. So my focus is to give you the exposure of some of the popular properties which are commonly used, and but keep in mind that it's all about regarding innovative use of various kinds of connectors. As we have covered type of connectors in lecture number 13, which was the first lecture of cascading style sheet. So this all is the usage of those connectors. As you have seen that there's we can very minutely select any particular element, and then after selection we can style those elements. Rather, we can do selection at the attribute level, and based on those attributes various elements can be selected, and that's why once we select any element we can make some sort of styles. So the point is that how efficient are you in utilizing those connectors. So rest is the ideas, and so you will see, we will see just few more ideas how to make use of those connectors and what all we can do. So obviously it is desired that the students should have a general idea about the properties, and then they should be able to consult and make use of relevant code for creating the desired effects or desired styles. So this is what is expected, that you should know from where to consult about these styles, and then you should be able to make use of those styles or code, and you should be able to do your work. Okay, let's view more interesting styles. So there is a concept of inline. It is one of the these are some display properties, and there are three closely matching display properties. One is inline, then inline block, and then only block. So this slide is depicting the difference between these properties. If we see the display inline property, then you can see that we can select any element and we modify its display properties. And since it is inline, if you make it inline, so it will not start a new line, rather within same line you can modify its display properties. For inline properties, heights, the height is fixed because it has to fit in the line. On the other hand, if you make use of inline block property, then you can also, it is within the line, but you can also alter its height and width as well. As you can see, it is within a line, but its height and width is different. Here, its height and width is according to the size of the element. And so it's the difference between inline and inline block. On the other hand, if we make use of block property, then each block starts with a new line. As you can see, the same text, if you use block property, then the next block is starting from a new line, and the block is starting from new line. That's why you can see it. It's kind of a column property. You can, if we see example, you'll find it interesting. Here you can see that this one span has a property display is colon inline block. Other span has property display block. Okay, and one span has a property display inline. So this is how we are achieving a different result. Okay, then there is another interesting functionality. Sometimes we want that our images uh, which are within a block should remain within a block, but sometimes image does not fit into the block. So there is a property known as clear fix with overflow auto. If you make use of this property, then what happens? That in this example, what is the problem in this upper image? That image is taller than the element containing it. So basically, this green element containing a green border is containing the image, but image is taller than this block, and it is floated, so it overflows outside the container. So this block becomes a container, but image is going out. So if we add clear fix class with overflow auto to containing element, so this problem can be fixed. Now here you can see that this image has been enclosed within a block. So sometimes you need this kind of adjustments, so we can make use of clear fix functionality. Then you can make use of innovative you can make innovative use of hovering effects, especially with opacity. The opacity property is often used together with hovering selector to change the opacity of a mouse over. As you can see here, let me open the picture. As you can see, if I hover over it, so opacity finishes, it transparency finishes, and so here you can see that there is a hovering effect. Here the regular opacity of image is 0.5, as you can see, but as with the hovering the opacity becomes 1. So this is what is happening. So a simple code and elegant functionality. Then there is another very important and commonly used functionality, that is creating navigation bars. Um, Here you can see there is a vertical navigation bar and there is horizontal navigation bar, and even we can create drop downs with the help of mouse over. So let me show this functionality on VS Code. So this is here you can see there is a horizontal bar, and with only a mouse over, menu is opening, and within a menu again you can move around, and on hovering the colors are changing. So it's a commonly used functionality on the websites, and we are using the code is available to us. We can make use of it. Here you can see this code. For example, again, this Visual Studio Code is very useful tool. For example, if we go to background color, you can see MDN reference for providing detail. Let me copy it and I can open the reference for this element. This is regarding background color on Mozilla Developer Network. It's very useful resource, and you can see these are different functionalities provided. Then syntax has been explained, and formal definitions are provided. So then examples are given and results are shown. So Mozilla Developer Network is very useful resource. You will find that almost all you'll find resources for HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SVG, Math, ML, and even web APIs. So straight away you can go and see what you can do. And here If you want to work on style sheets, it's very easy on this network. For example, I want to make something blue. So there should be some change. You can see on hovering, my color has changed to blue. So we can make a good style sheet by once we work on this Visual Studio Code IDE. You can also see various kinds of functionalities. For example, this is also one of the functionality of creating vertical bars. You can see on mouse hovering, colors are changing. Again, the code is available. You can just copy paste and do your fine tuning according to your needs. Okay, again, very interesting functionality of drop down images. Let me show you again. It's commonly used functionality in modern websites. This is a drop down image. If I move my cursor, I hover my cursor on the image, there is a small image, and once I hover it, a larger picture opens up. And once I move my cursor out, that image is vanished. Again, there is we are making use of various classes, and those classes are then being used in the elements. Like this element is using drop down class. There is a subdiv element which is making use of drop down content. How This is how this functionality has been achieved. Okay, then you can also create an image gallery with a style sheet, and let's see what can we achieve with this code. So this is a functionality. You can see that you can create an image gallery. You are just linking images, and again you can create a responsive image gallery which can adjust it according to various screen sizes. So let me open this one. This is an image gallery. Already captions can be placed in it. So here you can see add a description of image here, and it is being used here. And if I change screen size, it is providing a different view. So here are 4 columns and 2 columns and single column. So this functionality can be used in your websites. Okay, now you can also create beautiful forms. Very impressive forms can be made with the help of style sheets. This is, as you can see on the slide, there is a form. Again, a responsive form can be developed which can adjust itself according to the screen size. And with this, if you make use of CSS forms, you can do styling of input fields. Here you can see first name, last name, these are input fields. You can style those fields. with colors, borders, height, width, etc. Then you can adjust paddings of the input fields. You can modify borders of these fields. You can change colors. You can make their behavior when once change their behavior once they get the focus. If first name gets focus, its colors can be changed. Then you can insert icons within the text fields, input fields. Then you can create animated search inputs, and you can create responsive forms as well. Let me show, I have copied its code on Visual Studio Code. Let me show you how it may look like responsive form. Here you can see, and I can open its code as well. This is a code, and you can see it's a responsive form. As its width changes, the labels come at the top, and width once width increases, labels come on the left side. You can easily modify the color schemes. For example, here I have made a blue form. Again, similarly, I can make various other changes. For example, there is a hovering effect on the button that can also be changed from the code very easily. Let me show you few more examples, samples on the web page. Here you can change borders, you can modify input field colors. Then you can see once it gets focus, its color changes. Here you can see its border gets darken once it gets focus. Then you can see there is an icon. There is an icon on left side that has been inserted with the code, this code. Here you can see background image, and the position of image has also been fixed. So you can make a beautiful input fields. Again, this is an animated search. If I click, the search field opens up. Again, very stylish input field. Then you can also style a text area. You can see something is written, and then you can also enter your own input as well. Then you can style your menus. You can change their widths. Then you can style the buttons. You can create responsive forms as well, as I have shown you in the Visual Studio Code demo. Then you can also create your own websites, a responsive website. Let me show you again a Visual Studio. I've picked the code and placed it in the Visual Studio code, and let me open it here. Here you can see, and if I open the website, this is the code for the website. And why I am saying it is responsive, let me, you see, if you bring it to the mobile size screen, all the menus are placed automatically vertically, And if I open it on a larger screen, you can see their placement has been changed. If I further open it, so you can see that now some items have come on the right side, and such type of templates are available in abundance. One of the template here which is provided here, you may change. For example, this is a header, my website. Where is my website? Let's find it out. Control F. My website. So here you can find this is the heading. This is a header class. Within a header class, we can change. ठीक है जी. So similarly, you can make use of these templates. If I save it, so its title has been changed. Similarly, I can adjust background colors, etc. And you can give a completely new look and feel to the website. And the same here, the style sheet is on HTML page. You can pluck it out. This is a style sheet. It is internal, but you can bring it out and save it a separate .css file, and then you can link it to the HTML page. So in this way आपको फायदा ये होगा कि you can make use of this style sheet on any number of pages. Okay, so this was some I found these some interesting functionalities. So rest you can explore. You will find many new other ideas as well. So now let me come to next topic of media queries. You should have some idea how we can make use of media queries to creative responsive websites, because any modern website is expected to be developed in a responsive manner. So media queries are one of the functionality which help the developers to create responsive websites. Once we say responsive, it means that it adjusts itself according to the screen size. So let's see what are media queries. Okay, so I am on slide number 14. Media queries can be used to check many things, such as width and height of viewport, then width and height of a device, then orientation. As well as we make use of tablets and mobile phones, we change orientation of those phones so it can pick up the orientation, whether it is landscape or a portrait mode. And similarly it can also detect the resolution of the client side device, that which resolution it is being used, it's using. So according to these height and width, orientation, resolution, it can change the layout of HTML pages. So using media queries are a popular technique for delivering a tailored style sheet. I repeat, for delivering tailored style sheet to desktops, laptops, tablets, mobile phones. such as iPhone or Android phones. Okay, so what is the basic syntax of a media query? A media query consists of a media type. Here you can see media type, and can contain one or more expressions. So here you can find the expression within a bracket, which may resolve to either true or false. So it may be the result of it may be true or false. The result of query is true if the specified media type matches the type of device. So if type of device and media type are matching, then the result will be true. And the document being displayed on and all expressions in the media query are true. When media query is true, the corresponding style sheet or style rules are applied following the normal cascading rules. Here you can see a sort of cascading rule. If this statement is true, then it will come into the body of media query and these red color cascading rules will be applied. If this statement, the whole statement would become false, it will, this code will be skipped. So this is how it works. Let's see. So there are four kinds of media types. One category is all, then print, screen, and speech. So all means it is used for all media type devices. So if we make use of all, then it will consider all media types. If we use a print media type, then it will be used for printers only. And if we use a screen type, then it will be used for computer screens, tablets, smartphone, etc. And if it is used, it is of speech type, then it will be used by screen readers that reads the page out loud. Unless you use the not or only operator. यहाँ आपको ये नॉट या ओनली को ये यूज करना है। अगर ये ऑपरेटर अगर आप यूज करते हैं, द मीडिया टाइप इज ऑप्शनल एंड द ऑल टाइप विल बी इम्प्लाइड। तो अगर ये यूज नहीं करते तो ऑटोमेटिकली बाय डिफॉल्ट इट विल बी कंसीडर्ड एज ऑल। You can also have different style sheets for different media. अच्छा, ये देखें एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल ताकि आपको आइडिया समझ आ जाए क्या कैसे काम कर रहा होता है। प्रेस देन यू विल फाइंड लॉट ऑफ कोड, यू कैन मेक यूज ऑफ दैट प्लग एंड प्ले कोड। अच्छा ये देखें हम कर क्या रहे हैं। Here there is a style sheet and we are making use of body connector and by default the body background color is pink. Okay, now what we are saying, media screen, so it will be applicable for screen only and minimum width is 480 pixels. Then the body background color should be light green. So actually what happened, okay, I think we can ये स्लाइड एक्स्ट्रा आ गई है। I can move the slide. सो तो क्या होगा कि ये लेट मी शो यू कोड हाउ इट इज वर्किंग. So if screen size is less than 480 pixels, the body color is pink, and if it increases from 40 on 48 pixels, 480 pixels onward, then it becomes light green. So this is how we can make choices and make decisions based on this media tag. So here there is a decision, and based on decision, we are changing the body color of the web page. So this is how media queries work, and let's see another example. This example shows menu that will float to the left of the page if the viewport is 480 pixels wide or even more wider. So we are making an ID, left sidebar, another ID, main. So we are providing some width and setting float property to left, and also we are making a margin left to 216. So let's see what happens with this code. Hmm. So if I resize it, you can see colors, background color, body colors are changing. Okay, now these all settings have been made here. Background color olive, background color blue. Okay, if this statement goes true, it will enter here. If this condition becomes true, then it will adopt this one. So this is how we can make various responsive web pages. Okay, so this was a little idea about media queries, that how we can make use of it. There is another technique that is called flexbox. Again, flexbox is again used for the same purpose, but it is a different way of doing creating flexible or responsive websites. Actually, before flexbox, before flexbox, there were four layout modules. We have briefly seen this: block, inline, table, and position. So these four elements were being used. But once Flexbox has were introduced, then things become simpler. Now, Flexbox layout module. Flexbox layout module makes it easier to design a flexible, responsive layout structure without using float and positioning techniques, जैसे हमने पीछे भी देखा है. So let's see the Flexbox in action. So here what we do, we create a container. यहाँ पे आपको नजर आ रहा है div क्लास फ्लेक्स कंटेनर। तो हमने क्या किया है कि हमने एक div एलिमेंट को बना दिया फ्लेक्स कंटेनर। अब इसके अंदर जो हम div क्रिएट कर रहे हैं दीज बिकम द चाइल्ड ऑफ अ फ्लेक्स कंटेनर। तो अब यहाँ पे जैसे हमें नजर आ रहा है ये ब्लू कलर का हमारा फ्लेक्स कंटेनर है और इसके अंदर हमने 3 चाइल्ड एलिमेंट्स बना लिए हैं। 1 2 3 नजर आ रहा है आपको यहाँ पे। So to start using flex model you need to first define a flex container. The element above represents a flex container which is a blue area with 3 flex elements. तो जो इसके अंदर होंगे इन्हें हम एलिमेंट कहेंगे और ब्लू वाले को हम कहेंगे कंटेनर। So there is concept of element and concept of container. Okay. So you'll find there are various properties and you have to manipulate these properties of the containers. There is align content property, align items property, display property, flex direction, flex flow, flex wrap, justify content. तो डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज हैं, आपको यहाँ पे हर एक की एग्जांपल मिल जाएगी। फॉर एग्जांपल फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन की अगर हम बात करें, इट स्पेसिफाइज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ फ्लेक्सिबल आइटम्स इनसाइड द फ्लेक्स कंटेनर। इससे ये हो रहा है रैपिंग हो रही है, इसमें जस्टिफिकेशन कर सकते हैं हम। सो दी ऑल दीज थिंग्स कैन बी कंट्रोल्ड। लेट्स सी वन एग्जांपल, फ्लेक्स आइटम, align item. One of the properties align item, यहाँ पे आपको align item भी, अच्छा ये align item, here you can see align item. Align item क्या कर रहा है? Vertically aligns the flex items when item do not use all the available space on cross axis. अच्छा इसकी एग्जांपल देखते हैं। So the align item property, the align item center, अगर हम करें it aligns the flex item in the middle of the container, जैसे यहाँ पे नजर आ रहा है आपको। ये हमने 1 2 3 को इनको किया हमने अलाइन आइटम सेंटर, तो ये सेंटर में आ गए हैं तीनों। ये जो वाइट बॉक्सेस हैं ये सेंटर में आ गए हैं। सो अगेन आप देख सकते हैं हमने फ्लेक्स कंटेनर की एक क्लास बनाई है और उसमें हमने अलाइन आइटम सेंटर कर दिया है। तो ये जो इसकी आइटम्स कंटेनर के अंदर हैं ये सेंटर में आ गई हैं। और फिर हमने इस क्लास को यूज़ कैसे किया है, वी आर मेकिंग यूज़, हम कह रहे हैं जी फ्लेक्स कंटेनर जो इमीडिएट चाइल्ड है डिव, फ्लेक्स कंटेनर का जो इमीडिएट चाइल्ड डिव है उस डिव पे ये प्रॉपर्टीज अप्लाई हों। उसका बैकग्राउंड कलर ये वाइट है, विड्थ हाइट फिक्स किया हमने 100 विड्थ एडजस्ट किया है, मार्जिन हमने एडजस्ट किया है, आउटसाइड टेक्स्ट अलाइनमेंट सेंटर किया है जो अंदर टेक्स्ट नजर आ रहा है आपको। सो वी आर मेकिंग सम, वी हैव मेड सम चेंजेस एंड लेकिन जब हम इसको सेंटर करेंगे तो इस तरह होगा। अगर लेट मी सी देयर इज सम लिंक, ओके, तो ये इस तरह एडजस्ट हो गया है। अनदर प्रॉपर्टी इज फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन। फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन की प्रॉपर्टी क्या कर रही है, फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन कॉलम, तो ये देखें कॉलम में आ गए हैं। हमने क्या किया, इसी में हमने एक और प्रॉपर्टी ऐड कर दी है, फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन कॉलम, फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन कॉलम, तो ये कॉलम में आ गया। अगर मैं फ्लेक्स डायरेक्शन रो कर देता तो ये रो में आ जाते। देन स्टैक्स द फ्लेक्स आइटम वर्टिकली। और क्या किया हमने यहाँ प्रॉपर्टी डाल दी है कंटेनर में कि जो आइटम्स होंगे आइटम्स उनकी डायरेक्शन कॉलम वाइज होनी चाहिए। और हर डिफ की क्या प्रॉपर्टी होंगी वो यहाँ पे नज़र आ रही है हमें, हर एक की प्रॉपर्टी रिपीट हो रही है यहाँ पे। Here you can see flex box item properties. The child elements of flex container automatically becomes flexible items. तो जैसे ही कंटेनर में चीज़ें डालते हैं फ्लेक्सिबल हो जाते हैं। इसकी स्क्रीन छोटी बड़ी करेंगे तो अपने आप को एडजस्ट करेंगे। तो उसमें आपके लिए रिस्पॉन्सिव वेबसाइट का जो कोड है वो छोटा और कम कोड लिखना पड़ता है और वेबसाइट्स बन जाती हैं। The element above represents 4 blue flex items inside of grey flex container. और फिर आइटम्स की प्रॉपर्टी अलग हैं। एक तो पहले हमने देखी है कंटेनर की प्रॉपर्टीज, ये आइटम्स की प्रॉपर्टीज हैं कि आइटम्स को हम किस तरीके से एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल एक प्रॉपर्टी है अलाइन सेल्फ। अलाइन सेल्फ क्या करी होती है? इट स्पेसिफाइज अलाइनमेंट फॉर फ्लेक्स आइटम जो कि उसके अंदर कंटेन किए हैं कंटेनर में। इट ओवरराइड्स द फ्लेक्स कंटेनर्स अलाइन आइटम प्रॉपर्टी, उसको ओवरराइड कर देती है अगर सेल्फ अलाइनमेंट अगर हम करेंगे तो। फॉर एग्जांपल ये देखें ओवर राइटिंग हो रही है, इसे हम इसकी हमने आइटम की प्रॉपर्टी एडजस्ट कर रहे हैं। तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, ये आपको फ्लेक्स कंटेनर क्लास है और इसमें वन जो है, वन पे जो प्रॉपर्टी अप्लाई हुई है वो कंटेनर की प्रॉपर्टीज अप्लाई हुई हैं जो भी हैं। लेकिन टू पर और थ्री पर, टू पर थ्री पर हमने अलाइन सेल्फ करके फ्लेक्स स्टार्ट किया तो ये स्टार्ट यानी कि टॉप पे जाके ये फिक्स हो गया आइटम। और जब हमने इसको दूसरे वाले को अलाइन सेल्फ फ्लेक्स एंड कर दिया तो ये एंड पे जाके एडजस्ट हो गया। जबकि वन और फोर को हमने नहीं छेड़ा, तो वन और फोर ने अपने आप को एडजस्ट किया है कंटेनर की हाइट के मुताबिक, उसने अपने आप को एडजस्ट किया। सो वी कैन मैनिपुलेट प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ कंटेनर and then we can manipulate properties of the items. तो इसकी वजह से हमें बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी मिलती है and we can very minutely make fine tune our elements on the websites. As you can see here, the align self property जो कि ये वाली है overrides the align item property of the container। जैसे हमने पिछले उसमें देखा था align प्रॉपर्टी जो थी, ये align item प्रॉपर्टी ये कंटेनर की प्रॉपर्टी है। तो अगर हम align सेल्फ यूज करेंगे, align उसने कहा जी align item सेंटर, तो सारे सेंटर में करनी है उसने। तो अगर हमने आइटम की प्रॉपर्टी सेट करेंगे जैसे कि यहाँ पे कर रहा हूँ मैं, तो ये कंटेनर की जो प्रॉपर्टी है अलाइन आइटम प्रॉपर्टी उसको ओवरराइड करेगा और ये वाली प्रॉपर्टी एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगी। अदरवाइज इट विल इनहेरिट द प्रॉपर्टीज फ्रॉम द कंटेनर। Here you can see another example. We can create a responsive flex box. Here you can see if the screen is wider, then these items are horizontal, and for mobile phones or tablets, once the screen is shorter, their width is small, then it is automatically adjusting it vertically. Again, you can see another example. of responsive flag box. So its original direction, here you can see flex container class. We say display is flex and flex direction is row. But if width becomes shorter than 800 pixels, the flex direction becomes the column. It becomes column. Here you can see a column wise, but if we widen it, it will it will come into a row shape. So this is how we adjust various elements. Okay, let me show you some. Here, for example, I open the flex box. Here you can see media queries examples. Let me straight away open the media query examples. And here, these are few examples of menus. Then media queries for columns. You can, for large screen, columns are 4. Medium screen, there are 2 columns. Small screen, there is 1 column. Let's see this example. There are 4 columns, 2 columns, 1 column. This is media query. Then this is an example of div. For small screen, this div will get hidden. तो आप स्क्रीन के मुताबिक उसको हाइड कर रहे हैं. Variable font. For screen size, small screen size, fonts get smaller. Okay. Now let's see a few examples of Flexbox. You can see it is adjusting, elements are adjusting itself. So this is an example. Then let's see what happens here. Only text is changing and these are not changing because we have not made any uh, uh, decisions based on the width, so it is fixed. Let's see other example. Now we are making use of containers. So this flex direction property is showing our elements vertically. Then this is a flex wrap property. So it is wrapping our elements according to screen size. Let's see. You can see how wrapping is working. Justification. This is justify content center. So elements are in the center. Then justify content flex start, justify content flex end. These are on the left side. The other one will take it to the other side. Space round. Here you can see a space round property. This it's making them equidistance. So there are various examples here. Then something about responsive websites with the flex box. These buttons are horizontal. With the width change, these have become vertical. Okay, so now we see, up till now we have seen media queries and flexbox. Now there is another techniques and it is called CSS grid. Let's see CSS grid in action. So a CSS grid layout module offers a grid-based layout system with row and columns, making it easier to design web pages without having to use float and positioning. So it is another style that can be used. So it also has a concept of a container like flexbox. जैसे flexbox में हम पहले कंटेनर बनाते हैं फिर उसके अंदर आइटम्स एडजस्ट करते हैं तो कंटेनर की प्रॉपर्टीज इनहेरिट करती हैं आइटम्स and it's up to you if you want to override any property of the container. Same is the container concept is also in CSS grid. So to make an element behave as a grid container, you have to set display property to grid or inline grid. तो डिस्प्ले की जो प्रॉपर्टी है उसको या तो आपको ग्रिड डिक्लेयर करना होगा या इनलाइन ग्रिड. And grid containers consist of grid items placed inside columns and rows. तो इसमें कॉलम्स और रोज वगैरह बना सकते हैं आप और उसके मुताबिक फिर पूरे पेज को आप बड़ा डिटेल में चीज़ें अपनी फिक्स कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल this we are making 4 columns. एक कंटेनर है, कंटेनर में हम 4 कॉलम बना रहे हैं. So we say display is grid, display property is grid, and grid template columns auto. So there will be 4 auto size columns will be created. Auto means that these columns are going to adjust their width according to the screen size. Then see few more examples. As you can see, this is making 4 columns. They will adjust their width accordingly and they will have equal size. All the 4 columns will have same size, auto adjusted. Then we can also set the size of columns. For example, we say that first column should be 80 pixels, second 200 pixels, third one auto adjust, and fourth one 40 pixels. So this is how we can change column width as well. Then we can also justify content property can also be set. For example, we say that they should be spaced evenly. The columns should be spaced evenly. So this all we can do. So you can see that these properties are container level properties. Now let's see here. Then it also has elements. So the grid layout consists of parent element, and this parent div is, it's, we have given it a class name grid container, and the childs are all grid items. So the grid layout consists of parent element with one or more child elements. So यहाँ पे child elements हैं, और अगेन इसकी अगर हम डिफ़ॉल्ट पे छोड़ देंगे तो इसकी स्क्रीन साइज छोटा बड़ा करेंगे तो ये अपने आप को एडजस्ट करेंगे सारे एलिमेंट्स बड़ा नाइस तरीके से, नाइसली दे विल ट्राई टू फिट इन. Again, there are some column and row properties. Here you can see there is concept of columns. Within a column you can place, create gray rows, and within rows and columns you can adjust various items. For example, here you can see grid column gaps. For example, you can see you can make fine tune the gaps between columns and between rows. These are column gaps and these are row gaps. So here you can see a column gap is fixed with 50 pixels. So this can be done. So these are all properties of grids, which and each property has an example where you can see how to make use of those properties. For example, column gap property, what it does, it specifies the gap between columns, as I have shown you in the previous slide. This is a column gap. We can adjust these properties like gap, grid area, grid auto columns, grid auto flow, then various other properties, grid auto rows, grid column, and so on. There is a long list. Grid template area, grid template column, grid template rows, grid row gap. Okay, what is grid template column? It specifies size of the column and how many columns in a grid layout. As I have shown you the example of this property, grid template column, auto, and here you can see grid template column, and we are providing some width. So these are some of the properties which helps to style your pages nicely. Okay, then some templates are also provided. You can just copy paste the code and make use of these templates. Various CSS layout templates are available, and they use that use can be used freely. Here is the link. These templates are based on pure float properties using flexbox, using grid, and the after your next assignment will be to make use of these templates. Let me show you some templates. So these are few templates, as you can see. Header, then there are 3 columns, and there is a footer. These are equal column templates, then unequal column, and there is a footer, then top with top navigation bar, then content and footer, then side navigation bar, content. So let me open here. We can see using float. Float is at this moment is an older technique. Flexbox and grid are the newer techniques. Let me open the Flexbox style. Okay, so here the code is for using Flexbox, and here there is a header, there are columns you can fill in, you can adjust their colors and make use of it, and these are all responsive. You can see column are being adjusted. Then oh, I have closed it down. And okay, now let's see this style. Here you can see navigation bar is at the top. Then here navigation bar is on the left. And let me open a grid style. So this is a grid style code, different columns, and making use of various properties. Grid template areas are being defined. You just need to fill in your content and make appropriate colors, and these templates can be easily used. Okay, so this is all what I had to cover in CSS. In next lecture, I'll just give you the overview of W3 CSS. इसको थोड़ा सा कवर कर लेंगे मोटा मोटा, जस्ट टू गिव यू द आइडिया। और बाकी CSS में अगर आप देखें तो बहुत कुछ है इसमें, और अगर इसको डिटेल में एक एक चीज़ को देखा जाए तो पूरा एक पूरे इस कोर्स में तो कवर नहीं हो सकता। तो ये है कि आपको आइडिया होना चाहिए कि आपने जो ब्रॉडर आइडिया है, देयर आर वेरियस इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स। कुछ चीज़ें छोड़ दी हैं मैंने, कुछ कवर की हैं जो मुझे इंपॉर्टेंट लगी हैं, बट यू कैन मेक यूज़ ऑफ दीज। आपको पता होना चाहिए कि इनको यूज़ कैसे करना है। जो बुनियादी कॉन्सेप्ट हैं CSS के वो हैं जो मैंने आपको पहले लेक्चर में कवर करवाए हैं, एंड दोज आर ऑफ द सिलेक्टर्स। ये बुनियादी कॉन्सेप्ट हैं। सिलेक्टर्स को अगर आपका ये जो सिलेक्टर्स हैं, अगर इनको आप की अंडरस्टैंडिंग सही है तो आप ग्रिड को भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं, फ्लेक्स बॉक्स को भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं। सब इट्स ऑल इज द मैनिपुलेशन ऑफ दीज सिलेक्टर्स कि इनको कैसे आपने अप्रोप्रिएटली यूज़ करना है। ठीक है, दिस बाकी बहुत से फीचर्स अवेलेबल हैं, यूज़ कर सकते हैं आप। फॉर एग्जांपल ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशंस कवर नहीं की मैंने, ठीक है। मेरे ख्याल में एनिमेशंस कवर किए हैं या नहीं की, शायद की थी ये वाली, but not everything is covered. Pagination is multiple columns can be created. यहाँ पे देखें 3 columns are created. और here we are defining div column count 3, so 3 columns will be created. So there is CSS3 is immensely powerful, and it has a lot of features. And as you come into this profession, you should and you are going to use it, then you will become comfortable as you move forward. Okay, so CSS is covered in 3 lectures. One lecture will be on W3 CSS, just an overview, and then we'll move to JavaScript. Okay, so this is all in today's lecture. Any query or question in CSS?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. Okay, so I until next week.